Hello. Okay. Hello.
Hi.
My name is Jennifer.
That's true.
And this is...
My name is Steven.
He is my brother, and we were doing a review, a compare and contrast of two movies based on Elizabeth Bathory, who was a countess, and it's basically focusing on her crime as a murderess, killing a ton of people, some estimating only 20.
If not the worst of the serial killers, certainly the first of the female serial killers, at least in documented history.
Yes. Of course, the extent of her killings was possibly exaggerated by the people that were her enemies and the people that wanted to put her in a negative light, so that when they held power, it was like, we defeated this woman and now she pays and we are better and we are in charge.
And that was represented in the second movie we watched, that movie being The Countess.
And the name of the two movies we are reviewing are Bathory, and the other one is called The Countess. Yeah, we're having some camera problems. In the end, we're going to do our best to edit out any of these weird focus and refocus things that the camera does, but there may be times where it's going to do it and you're going to see it anyway. So, here we go.
Elizabeth Bathory, yes.
Okay.
Is a princess, or a queen, well...
Countess.
Countess, yeah, that's the word that I had in my head.
Okay.
Somewhere on the Asian continent. European, maybe. Hungary, in that area.
In Transylvania.
Mm-hmm. And, let's see, who did she marry? Who was Ferenc? Was he, someone of nobility? Was
yes.
She was a noble woman with, possession of land and...
a lot of land. She got married when she was 15. She had 7 children in all. Not all of them survived. So during their marriage, Elizabeth Bathory was very much left on her own, and Ferenc was very much
fighting.
More interested in fighting and spent little time in the castle that they shared. I think that leads to the storyline of, in these movies, a lover that maybe happened. I mean, Caravaggio is an actual character, an actual person from her story. But to the extent of him being a lover, I don't think we really know.
No, I don't either. I haven't really done much looking into him historically.
So the difference between Bathory and the Countess regarding a lover is that in Bathory, she took a lover, which was the man that was sent to paint her portrait, family portrait, and also to keep her entertained. She wound up attracted to him and him to her, and they had their affair while Ferenc was off fighting. Whereas in the Countess, within the first maybe 10 minutes, we saw them from babies to Ferenc dead, and then the Countess having an affair with another man.
Oh.
It wasn't Thorzo, though.
I think it was. I think it was the younger Thorzo.
Well, in the Countess, they were doing a lot of very close back-to-back important things, and it was just like a rattling off of instance after instance with no lead up and no lead out. So it just felt like I was being jumpy and like facts were just being thrown at me instead of getting into the story. Whereas, yes, in Bathory there were more drawn out things, but then you had a moment to understand the characters and what they were going through, and allowed for more emotion, I think, to come through, to be a little more connected to the characters. Acting.
One thing that we noticed was between the two movies, the casts were almost opposites, which I think kind of falls under that. Maybe casting is a better way to describe that, but the king was big and scary and Bathory and this tiny meek old man and the Countess. The character of Darvulia was an old witch in Bathory and a youngish woman in the Countess, etc., etc.
Darvulia was the woman who, when the Countess, I guess, either got started with the blood thing, she was doing witchcraft, but like herbal kind of things. And I have to say that in Bathory, in Bathory, there was a lot more hinting that Darvulia was to blame for Elizabeth Bathory's decision to go into doing things with blood. And when she was ill, after in Bathory, they had a situation where there was a plot to kill her lover, who was Caravaggio, and instead of him drinking the poisoned wine, she grabbed a hold of it and drank it and became really ill. And during this time, Darvulia stepped in, and she basically took her hand and cut it or her wrist for blood, and showed how the wound healed up very quickly after that. And she started this seeming desire for blood after that. And in the Countess, it didn't make it seem like Darvulia was the beginning of the reason for the blood.
No, she didn't even seem like a bad guy character,
right,
if you will.
Yeah.
She was just another addition to the story. And I think that's probably, at the very least, more historically accurate.
Darvulia was one of the characters that actually did exist in real life.
Well, I'm sure she did. A lot of them did. But,
yeah, a lot of them did.
I don't think she inspired the bloodlust in Elizabeth Bathory.
And
it's kind of like, no, never mind, I'm not going to go there. I'm not sure where I was going.
With the Darvulia of the Countess, there was very much a back and forth of, I like you, I hate you, I like you, I hate you. And with Bathory, Darvulia was someone that kind of seemed steadily out to help her. But, you questioned it. And also, during the time of her medicating her with herbs, an herb drink, some of Elizabeth Bathory's enemies were poisoning her by putting a poisonous mushroom, in her drink. I think it kind of seemed necessary to have this alternate kind of storyline going on. I think it would have been maybe a little more boring for you to have the Countess just not doing anything while her husband's away. But as to whether she really had an affair or not, well, I guess in Bathory that's what happened. But in the Countess, they didn't show her being unfaithful to her husband.
But they did introduce the lover characters after he had died in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the two of them are different. And the character Dominic Bizakna, I felt like he was bizarre. Like he wasn't even attractive, not in a physical way, but mentally. I didn't understand her connection with him. And the weird putting the S&M thing in there. Like it seemed needless to put that in there.
I agree.
And it didn't really explain anything more about her personality. At first I thought they were going to say something like how it connected her treatment of the girls. But I think she even started the mistreatment of the girls before this guy decided to introduce S&M to their stuff.
Bathory did just fine without that. I think there were parts of both movies that were presented in a sympathetic light.
Mm-hmm. If I had to say which one I thought was more sympathetic, I think they probably did a good job of that in parts in the Countess, more so than Bathory. And I found it kind of bothersome when I felt the sympathy for the well, I keep wanting to say character, but the woman, as the horrible things she did.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it's a movie, it just bothers me that I find some sympathy there. Because I don't even know what provoked it, other than vanity. There is no seeming, when I was a kid, something happened, and now that's why I do this. So it was hard to find sympathy, considering lack of that.
In the Countess, they present her as a very jealous person. In Bathory, it's just that she wants to reclaim the youth. But in the Countess, there's a lot of there's some personal vendettas against the girls who she kills.
Right.
And I think jealousy plays a role there, and I kind of appreciated they were giving more to this story than she's killing this girl because she wants to look youthful for the rest of her life.
Hairbrushing situation where she was annoyed that the maid had yanked on her hair, and she hit her with a mirror multiple times, and then after she got blood on her face, she rubbed it in, and she saw herself as having more youthful skin, and then chose that one girl to have her blood taken and used for that purpose, and that's where the ball got rolling, at least in the Countess. You know, the Elizabeth in Bathory, they introduced a bit of her interest in alchemy kind of stuff and witchcraft, and she had a book of anatomically mapped out pictures of, well, that were drawn of the human body on the inside, which were looked at as, you know, of course, what is that, heresy?
Yeah.
So she tried to get Caravaggio into it a little bit, and they were in this dank, like, underground stone wall area, and just doing things that were probably really frowned upon at that time. And I'd love to know if that was really the case, if she dabbled in that stuff. And
that would be interesting.
Yeah. And she was apparently very cultured and well-educated, spoke, I think, 4 different languages, and just... a
bright woman.
Yeah.
A cultured woman.
Yeah.
But a killer.
But a killer. And, my gosh, look at killers today, like the profiling when you look at killers, and they have a fascination with how the body works. I mean, like Jeffrey Dahmer, he was interested in how things were on the inside of the body.
What would we have liked to have seen that neither movie showed?
I think I would have liked to see more interaction with her children, because they kind of seemed totally out of the picture. I'm aware that in what happened in reality was they actually were away and they were getting their studies done a lot of the time.
We didn't get much motive for murder.
Wanted to see that more.
I would have liked to delve a bit more into the psyche rather than... because even if somebody thought that blood getting on them was making them appear a little more youthful, I don't see the connection to murdering people and draining their blood and bathing in it. I think it took a bit of a leap without really clarifying how she would have made that leap in her head. I liked the reduced time of the Countess versus Bathory. I thought it was a lot more palatable and a lot easier watching.
That I still disagree with. I liked the more fleshed out Bathory.
I'm surprised I can say that, because there were certain aspects that I would have preferred them to flesh out, but I don't know that necessarily I got what I wanted out of Bathory.
I liked in Bathory the fact that it seemed more dark. It seemed very moody, and that goes really well with the theme. It was moody. Did you feel that the Countess was appropriately moody?
Not necessarily, and I felt like it might have been a little bit overdone in Bathory.
Okay, overdone. Alright.
I don't feel like either found a happy medium. I think there's a place where they had to hit between not dragging you through the muck and still making you feel like it was a period piece, still making you feel like you were watching these events unfold, and I didn't feel that it was that either movie quite gave me what I wanted. There are a little too much extreme circumstances.
Okay. Final verdict. First, you say what you think my choice is, and I'll say what I think your choice is. Go ahead.
Oh, I think you're going to choose Bathory.
And I think you're going to choose the Countess?
And you're right.
We're split. Now, I don't think there's enough of a margin, though, for me between the two. I found it a difficult decision between the two.
I'd agree with that.
Alright.
Alright.
So, I vote Bathory, and...
I vote the Countess.
Okay. I hope you enjoyed our review. I hope you enjoyed our review. We had fun.